Mama, I want you to tell about that move we made, left to go to Saltilla. I want you to tell about that. And we
left to go to Saltilla.
You know, when we left was it Tremont? We lived over there?
Yeah.
We moved to Saltilla. Who moved us?
Let me see. Delbert Brock.
Delbert Brock?
Yeah.
After how long was that after Grandpa died? Grandpa Crocker died.
He died in May. The first day of May, my father did.
Yeah.
And we left there. It must have been in June, sometime in June. Yeah, June when we left there. In June. Right.
Well, how did you contact anybody and let them know that we was wanting to move somewhere? How did you let them know about it?
Well, we went to Saltilla before we moved.
How'd we get up there?
Well, we started out a walk and walked to Fulton. I didn't walk, but we caught a ride. Somebody picked us up in a truck.
How far was that to Fulton?
About 10 miles, I guess, something like that. I believe it's 10 miles.
We walked to Fulton?
Yeah, we didn't walk, but we walked a little way and just carried a few clothes. And we was walking, this truck come by and asked if we wanted to ride, and we said, yeah, we sure would like to. We just got in that little old truck and went to Fulton. And we had some friends there that lived in Fulton. And we spent the night with them. And the next morning then, this friend of ours got somebody to carry us to Manhattan, to Jesse Busey. And we stayed.
You went to Jesse's first?
Yeah. And stayed, and Jesse said he was going to help me get me a place to live, you know. Well, so we decided and said we'd go on up to Chan after we spent a few days.
Before we go on, though, what made you decide to make a move anyway? You just felt like after Grandpa died?
Yeah, there wasn't nothing to do there. I had to go somewhere to make a living.
Okay. All right.
I'd get close to some of our people.
So Jesse said he'd help. So then what happened?
Yeah, Jesse said he'd help. Chan said he would. And all of them said they'd help. You know.
So went to Saltilla?
Yeah.
How'd we get to Saltilla from Jesse?
I guess Jesse carried us to Chan.
How'd we go there, though? In a car? Yeah,
he had a car. Jesse had a car. And he carried us to, no, I forgot Jesse. Jesse lived at Manhattan, you know.
Yeah.
Close to Manhattan. Well, then we went to Chan's from Jesse.
Yeah.
And that's where we got to getting our help, right there. See, Cecil was already working on this, what do you call it?
CCC?
In the CC camp thing.
Yeah.
Well, he was getting a little check. Chan was working on WBA. And Chan told me, said, Zella, said, now, tomorrow now, said, I'm going to take off. And I'll carry you to Tupelo and let you sign up on this WBA work. I believe you get to go to work. Well, so we went on to Tupelo and I signed up. And then it was about 3 months then before I ever got a work call. And that was in June. And I didn't get to go to work till in September. Got a work card in September to go to work at the school house, work in the cafeteria. And I worked there for I made it fine then. You know,
where did they move you into before?
Well, they got this little old house down there, you remember?
Parham House.
Yeah, Parham House.
Parham, that's one supposed to have been haunted, wasn't it?
Yeah, they said it was. I didn't hear nothing there, but that's supposed to be. Well, we stayed there.
Didn't Cecil go?
Cecil stayed with us a lot of the time.
He went and got some commodities and stuff, didn't he?
Yeah, Cecil went and got a bunch of stuff and brought it in there.
And brought it up there? Well,
yeah,
what all did he bring when he brought the food up there?
Oh, he brought everything, you know. Just all kinds of
powdered eggs?
Yeah, powdered eggs and milk and rice and cheese and butter and flour and just a bunch of growth. Well, in a little while.
He brought some lard?
Yeah. And then a little while after that then, a man come around with a wagon load, one of Mama's cousins' husband, Clovis Watson. And I seen a wagon stop out in front of her house. I looked out and I said, who could that be? Mama said, that's Clovis Watson. Well, he come on the door and said, well, Zella, would it make you mad to tell you that I'd went around and made y'all up a big load of groceries? I said, no, it wouldn't make me mad. I'd be proud. So he come in, he had everything. You filled that whole corner. Food done us for a month. I never seen like a grocery in my life, everything you could think of. And I don't see how we kept it with no refrigerator, but we managed some way. Oh,
Well, most stuff back then wasn't.
Yeah, he brought canned goods, and he brought flour. Went to them several stores in South Hill, and everybody put in flour, lard, coffee, and sugar. It's all the sight.
They wouldn't do that today, would they?
No. Well, so that done us a long time, you know. Well, then, after that, well, I just kept going to that post office every day.
Waiting for you.
Waiting for
work card.
A check. Work card. Well, I went up there one day, you know. Well, it's been about almost 3 months in September. Well, I got that card. And Ray always went with me, him or James, whenever I went, you know. Well, I said, Ray, I got it. And he was tickled to death, you know, Ray was. So I get to go to work and have some money, you know. Well, about, they told me to report Monday morning. That was along on the weekend when I got it. Report for work Monday morning. Well, they let me work a week then before I had to go get my
health card.
Yeah, health card.
Tupelo.
Had to go to Tupelo to get that.
Yeah.
Well, when that come back then, well, it's okay, you know. If it hadn't been, of course, I wouldn't have got to work, you know. But my health card was okay.
And they put you to work where?
At South Hill Old School.
Lunchroom.
Lunchroom.
Well, let me tell you something. That was a WPA project, wasn't it?
Yeah, sure was. Well, when I got
it's called Work Project Administration. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was under Roosevelt.
Yeah, that's right.
Franklin Roosevelt.
Yeah. Jackson was the headquarters for that, you know.
I was going to ask you one thing before you go on. When we first went to South Hill. Remember that time? Tell about that when me and you and James and Grandma was up there on the street of South Hill. When the street wasn't nothing but just old gravel. We was up there one day. We didn't have nothing. Didn't have a penny.
Yeah.
Well, did somebody find some money one day? Tell about that. Did one of us find a quarter?
I did. I found it.
You did. Okay.
I found a quarter.
Okay. Tell what happened to that quarter.
Well, you know, James, he smoked, you know.
Yeah.
And me and Mama both drank coffee. And, of course, you didn't do none of it then, you know. Well, I taken that quarter. Oh, mercy.
It's funny now, ain't it?
Yeah.
That quarter.
I taken that little quarter. And I got a dime's worth of coffee.
And you could buy it by the
book.
Or
you could get a big old book for a dime.
Yeah, and did you go in and say, give me 10 cents worth of coffee, and they'd put it in there?
Oh, the roper went over and dipped out me 2 or 3 big scoops of that. He gave me a little more than I was supposed to have. You know. And
where was that? W.W. Jones?
No, this was Aldi Roper's.
Aldi Roper's?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, then I went and got James a nickel sack of RJR smoking tobacco.
Run, Johnny, run.
Yes,
RJ Run. Yeah.
And I got me and Mama a little box of snuff.
What is snuff cost? Nickel.
1 nickel. And I had a nickel left. And I went and got Ray a big snack.
Big snack.
He loved that ice cream.
Big snack was a big old ice cream on a stick.
Yes, sir. It didn't cost for 1 nickel. I think it was that long.
Yeah.
And I give that to Ray. I want to do something for every one of us. You know. And so Ray...
How proud was you of that quarter?
Lord,
what did it mean?
That looked like I don't know what it looked like. It's
$100.
Yeah, it looked like $1. Well, then Ray ate that big ice cream. James had a little smoke in the day. And Ray would get out on the streets there. You hate to see James do without that cigarette. He craved them so bad. Done got had it done. And he'd get out and pick up cigarette stubs. You remember that?
I do. Yeah.
And he would pinch off the end where the people had their mouth on it.
And I was about 5 years old when
Yeah. And he'd dust that tobacco out. He'd fill James a big sack of tobacco.
But see, the reason I did that was because he was embarrassed. He was ashamed to
He
do
wouldn't
it.
do nothing.
He wouldn't get them because people see him get them, you know.
He wouldn't do nothing.
But I'd go get them, and I'd empty that tobacco out. It'd be a Sir Walter Raleigh, and it'd be a Camel, and
Oh,
it'd
it'd just be
Cool,
mixed
whatever.
up.
I'd put it all in a sack for him so he'd have something to smoke. He'd sneak around back behind the building, make him a cigarette out of it.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's the way it was.
That's true.
That's just what we had to put up with.
That's
right.
So then, from the time we lived in the old Parham house, what about getting to from there down to El McCarthy's? How about that? We moved into Miss El McCarthy's house, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, I don't know how we managed about that. But I know we
Miss El had a house down there on the creek, on Sand Creek.
Yeah, she let us move in it, didn't charge me nothing. We just, it wasn't
There's nobody living there, so she let us move down on Sand Creek.
Yeah, she liked me and liked my mama knowed her, you know.
Yeah.
And so we moved in her little old house there and stayed there for a long time. And I was working then, you know, and so I'd walk over to the schoolhouse every morning.
How much money did you make a month?
I didn't make but about $40 or $50 a month.
I think it's $48.
$48.
$48 a month.
Yeah. But I could take
that was valuable. That's a valuable job.
I could take that $48 and buy as much as I can now for $70 or $80. So you get flour for 24 pound sack of flour for 75 cents. Yes, sir. And I didn't have to buy too much groceries.
How about when we got our first groceries down there at El McCarthy's house, and me and Tig was down on the river playing, on the creek playing.
Yeah.
And y'all got that flour and stuff, and remember when y'all called us to come up there and eat?
Yeah.
Come on up, we got something to eat. And we ran up there at the house, and y'all had, I'll never forget it, you had flapjacks, flitters you called them.
Yeah.
Flour fried in lard.
Yeah.
And that's all it was. That's all it was. And we were so glad we had something to eat.
Yeah, that's right.
And went to Freeman's in Tupelo. Remember Freeman's department store in Tupelo?
Yeah.
What did we buy?
Bought us a little old radio.
Bought us a radio. What color was it? It's white.
Yeah.
It's a white radio.
Yeah.
And it took a battery that cost, oh God, ungodly amount. It cost about $7.
Yeah.
That battery.
Yeah.
We drove that stake in the ground to get us ground and put that antenna up on top of that old tin top house.
And it sounded good.
And oh boy, it was Atwater Kent radio.
Yeah, I remember.
You could hear the Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah, James and Ray set up till midnight. Yeah.
Wasn't no air conditioning.
No.
Wasn't no screens.
No.
If there was mosquitoes and bugs and things, you just lived with them. They were just there.
You didn't pay no attention to them much
no fans. And our biggest enjoyment about sundown every day, I remember, was going out there and they had these bull bats that would dive down, you know. The pastures is full of bull bats. What we call bull bats. Just a bat, you know. And we'd take this, we had a rock and we'd tie a piece of rag on the rock and we'd throw it up. The other one would take a broom, and as the thing would go up, the bat would dive down after it to the ground, and we'd try to swat them bats to kill them, see if we'd kill them. And that was our entertainment. And I'll never forget one time when, what was his name? Elsie Dotson.
Yeah.
Elsie Dotson, remember? Elvie, I'm sorry. Elvie Dotson.
Yeah.
One time he dropped his family off there while we lived there in that little house, remember? Mm-hmm. He was going off drinking and gambling, and he left his wife and kids there. And we played and had a good time. And later on that night, remember what happened? He come back drunk.
Oh, that was Lawrence. Lawrence Dotson.
Lawrence Dotson, I'm sorry.
Lord, yeah.
Elvie's oldest son.
Right.
And Lawrence come back drunk that night, and he come in there, and he walked in the door, and the first thing he wanted to do was beat his wife up, remember?
I remember, yeah.
And I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. He come in there, and he's going to beat her up. He's going to whip her. And Grandma Muse grabbed a chair, Grandma Crocker, grabbed a chair, and jumped in there, and she said, Lawrence, if you hit, what was her name? What was his wife? Milvy?
Yeah.
Said, Lawrence, if you hit Milvy, said, I'm going to bust this chair over your head. He backed off. He wouldn't.
Sure did.
He wouldn't come on to Grandma. Grandma was tough.
Yeah.
But we went through, and it must have been like 1 o'clock at night, and he come back there. And there wasn't nothing wrong. He just wanted to whoop her.
That's right. He was mean to that woman.
Because he wanted to leave and make them kids all walk way the heck through them woods to try to get home that night.
Yeah.
And she wanted to go ahead and keep the kids there the rest of that night. And he said, no, we're leaving here. She said, no, we ain't. He's going to beat her up. I remember that.
Well, what did he ever do?
I think they left. I think they left that night. I think she finally left.
She was Guy Stanford's sister. Milby was.
Is that right?
Yeah.
She dead now?
I don't know where she is or not. She wasn't last count I have. She left him. I don't blame her.
Anyway, where did we move to from there? We moved over to the little house across the tracks there.
Old Dr. Pye.
Yeah. Dr. Pyle's place.
We had electricity there. First place
we had electricity.
Right there.
That was during the war.
Yeah.
We lived right down the street from, what was the woman's name that had all the boys, had 5 sons in the war?
Dillard, Miss Dillard.
Yeah, Clara Dillard.
Yeah, she is a good woman. She is good to us. She gives you lots of clothes.
She's from Utah, Alabama, wasn't she?
Yeah. And she had a bunch of boys, and she gave James and Ray a bunch of clothes.
And she had 5 stars on her window.
Yes, sir. Every one of them been in the service, and she had a bunch of shirts and things there.
5 sons fighting overseas.
Sure was. Yeah, I like that woman.
She was a good lady.
She liked you and James.
Well, how about that old woman had a store in town? Her name was Lee and Morgan. Tell them about her.
Oh, I never did like her. Ooh.
What'd she think about me? Did she like me?
No, sir. She just hated you.
I never knew why she hated me.
I don't know either. But she said he'll come to something bad someday. You just wait till be in reform school before it's.
She used to get on the street and tell people, before that boy turns 18, he'll be in reform school.
Yeah.
So she hated my guts. And
well, she was still living when you graduated. And you sent her a graduating card.
I know it.
He said, I don't care anything about the woman, but I want to let her know that I did finish school. And sent her a graduating card.
I sure did.
Yeah.
That's right.
Sent all them people around our graduating card. And nobody didn't send you a gift from South Hilo but Herman Jones and his wife.
Sure did.
They sent you a box of socks.
They was always good to me.
Yeah, Herman
back during the time, during the war, you know, when you couldn't get no ammunition, you couldn't go in and buy shotgun shells or rifle shells. Right. But some of the hardware people would get a box now and then, see. It was their own little private stock. They got a few. And their special people got them. And Herman Jones would give me a box of 22 shells. Every so often, just give me a box. And I never forgot that. And we had a single shot Stevens 22. And I always promised him I was going to bring him a squirrel, but I'd go out and shoot birds with him. He'd still give me another box later on. You know, I never forgot that. Heck, I must not have been over about, oh gosh, that was about 1944. I was about 10 years old.
Yeah.
But then how did we ever move on old man Bill's place? Tell about that, Mama. What kind of guy was Bill Riley?
Well, he is good in some ways and bad in some ways. He is a pretty good fellow, I reckon. He treated us all right, but he just wanted you to work your head off.
That's right, he did.
But he was, in a way, he was treated us pretty nice, I guess.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he is pretty good. He
thought he was good to everybody anyway, didn't he?
Yeah. And asked me about that time that you went home with Clifford's views and me and James was so worried about it.
Oh.
You remember that?
Clifford?
Yeah, Clifford's views. From school. He wanted you to walk out home with him and we didn't know where you was at.
Oh, yeah, when he come that big bad cloud.
Yeah, and that was the office cloud. Looked like a tornado or something. And James was out here just wringing his hands. Poor boy, I was so sorry for him. He was wringing his hands.
Well, the thing about that was they asked me to go out there with them, you know, and they lived out in the woods.
Yeah, I know.
And there you go. So they wanted me to go out there with them. And I got out there, got to having fun, enjoying myself, playing, and first thing you know, it was dark. Getting dark, and I wouldn't have gone out there with them, but they said that they'd walk me back to town. You know, don't worry about it, we'll walk you back to town. Well, time come to go, they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't walk me back to town. I'd try to find my way back from out there in what they call a cook pasture out there east of South Hilo. I tried to find my way back to town by myself. And I got to going down the road, and I was walking, and by myself, and the storm was coming up and it was blowing, and I got all scared and everything. And I looked and it was getting dark, and we didn't have no watches or nothing. You couldn't look to see what time it was. And, you know, I just realized it was getting dark on me, and I was a long way from home. And when I finally got down there through town and got to where we lived down there at Bill Riley's in that holler down there, boy, they was fit the tide. Old James and Mama, they was, oh, Lord, they was upset with me. Mama wanted to whip me, and she grabbed me. She wanted to whip me. She wanted to hug me. She didn't know what to do. But they didn't know where I was. I was just gone. I was just lost, you know.
No, I mean, James, he's just crazy about Ray. He just couldn't get him to let him out of his sight.
But how about that old lady that had them 3 sons that lived over there, said her husband was an enlisted man? What was her name? Harriet Hubert.
Harriet Hubert, yeah. Harriet Hubert, that's right.
Well, she talked about her husband a lot.
Oh, Lord, she thought he was a great
We had an old black woman and her son and 2 daughters, Vanny Patton.
Now, dude, they was nice to us, wasn't they?
Yeah, they was good to us.
She got killed.
What Vanny she was telling, Harriet was telling about where all her husband been, Jerusalem and everywhere.
She said, well, your husband just went to heaven before he died.
Yeah, she listened to all that. Was out there chopping cottons. Said,
yeah.
All I got to say, Miss Harriet, is your husband went to heaven before he died. Done been to Palestine and Jerusalem and the Holy City.
That's right.
But anyway, we lived there in the holler till 1947. And what happened on September the 11th, 1947?
September the 11th?
Yeah. Yeah, Mama, that was September 11th, 1947.
Wilburn come and got us and carried us into Arkansas.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, what led to us going to Arkansas? How'd that get started in the first place?
Your daddy come up there. I believe it was about a week before that, and asked me if I would move to Arkansas.
Well, wait now. Didn't Charles Robinson and James go to Arkansas and see Tranny or something with somebody one time? Remember? And he come back and they called him Arkansas Honeycutt?
Yeah, remember I believe they did. I forgot.
Yeah, Charles Robinson and James went to Arkansas with somebody.
Oh, yeah. Back. Somebody going out there to get carry some cotton pickers or something out there.
Yeah.
And they just rode out there and back.
Rode out there and back, and he spent the night with Tranny Johnson. And
yeah, that's right.
And he come back talking about how he loved Arkansas, and old Marvin Barnett started calling the Arkansas Honeycutt.
Yeah, that's right.
And he got his mind set on going to Arkansas.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was about August or so, and then in September, you say Dad?
Yeah, your dad come up there. I guess it's about a week before we went to Arkansas.
Yeah.
And he asked me, he said, well, Zella said, if I would go out to Arkansas or call out there or something other and get somebody to come and get you and the boys, would you move to Arkansas? I said, Verlon, I'll move anywhere where these boys will be happy. That's what I told him. And he said, well, I'm going to go and try to make arrangements to get some of them to come and get y'all where you can go out there and make a good living. That's just what he told me. And I said, well, that's fine. I'll go. Well, then Verlon just sat right down, and he didn't call because he didn't have no phone. Sat right down and wrote a letter back out there to us and said that Wilburn could be ready. Said Wilburn will be after y'all Wednesday night.
We couldn't tell Bill Riley, could we?
No, we didn't tell him nothing about it. So just a little bit before we left. I know that's going to go. And that day before Wilburn's supposed to come that night, me and Ray went down on a little old creek there. And I never seen like a muscadine in my life down there, just below. And we gathered the awfulest sight of muscadine. And I went on back to the house, and I cooked them muscadine and just put them in cans. And I said, I'm going to carry these to Arkansas. And I said, Bertie and Veer and some of them make a bunch of jelly out of it. Well, sure enough, I got it all done before. We didn't have much to pack, didn't have nothing in the house. I got it all. I told James ready to get busy now and get that stuff together. And they were just tickled to death to get to go. And I said, we'll be leaving here tonight sometime.
Didn't know when?
No, didn't know what time
you
were going to get there. But we had everything ready. And so I got them muscadines all put up in them jars and loaded them on there. And so we sat around and James said, I ain't going to bed. I'm going to wait on him. He'll be there. I believe it was about 9 or 10 o'clock, way in the night. Well, we seen a truck drive down through that.
See lights come down there.
Seen that lights
knew it was
come
something.
down.
There wasn't no car supposed to be down in there.
I know there wasn't no car supposed to be down somebody. Well, I looked out over across that ditch. I had to cross over a little ditch there. And I seen Wilburn. Here he come, walking his face.
He's a young man, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's young, good-looking guy. Here he come across there, you know. Well, Zella, I'll come after you. Get your things ready and let's go.
We had to go through a corn patch and cross a little foot log and ditch, didn't we?
Got our little old stuff all loaded. I had them muscadines all in them, fixed them in a box so they wouldn't get broke.
Piled up on the old Chevrolet truck. Must have been about I guess it was
Earl Cockrell.
38 or 39 Chevrolet, something like that truck.
That Earl Cockrell come with Wilburn out there to get us.
More like 36.
36, probably was 36.
Yeah. And so we didn't get to Arkansas till the next morning. Early the next morning.
Well, something happened to the old truck. It tried to catch on fire or something. We stopped before we got to Memphis and pulled off. And smoke was coming out of it or something. Me and James was sleeping up on top of the mattresses and things up on top.
Yeah, me and Wilburn Earl sitting in the cab.
And finally, I don't remember we went through Memphis. We was sleeping, went through Memphis. And the next thing I knew it was daylight. Sun was coming up and looked up and I looked out and my God, it's flat country and trees and highways and there was a cafe there. And it stopped to get some coffee. Later on I found out that was at Lake David.
Yeah.
Lake David, Arkansas.
Yes, sir.
And man, it was really something for me.
And I was hungry when I got to Birdie's.
I thought we never would get there. It was like, going from New York to California or something. Just grinding, going. And we finally got there and heard all them wild stories about how mean Arkansas was and how the Mexicans would stab you in the back with a knife and how the people were just killing right and left. There wasn't no law and the floods would flood you out every other week and oh God, we heard all them bad stories about Arkansas and I was scared to death. Never forget the first time I went to town. Will, I believe it was, going into town to get us some groceries. It might have been Wilburn, Doyle, I don't know who it was. But I wanted to go into town with him. Me and Tig went into town and we got in there. We parked behind Bill Ray's store in the Panto. We sitting back there in that old gravel alleyway back there. We was sitting back there waiting. We wouldn't get out and go inside. We sitting back there waiting and I looked up and here comes this Mexican guy walking down the back alley there, just walking along. And the only Mexicans I'd ever seen was the ones in the movies where they always pulling knives out of their collars and killing people and all this stuff. And I started scooting down the seat and I said, "Don't let him see us. Don't let him see us. He'll kill us." And I was 12 years old. And I was just that stupid.
Now I went with him after we ate breakfast that morning. Miss Nutt was there, Doll's mother. You know her, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Bertie had just had Tommy. He was just a little tiny baby. When we got to Arkansas, she was still not able to do nothing. Well, Miss Nutt had come there to stay with Doll and take care of Bertie and all, And Miss Nutt went in and she fixed us the best breakfast I ever eat. And we couldn't get Jane.